Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Nine Hole Podcast. This is your host speaking. This is Ian Miller. Man, I hope everybody is having a good day today, man. I just wanted to jump on here, talk about a little something that I had out over the weekend, the Nine Hole Podcast, kind of go over what that touched on, man. Go over some things that worked for me in my career, some things that I did wrong, some mistakes that I've made on my pursuit of making it to the big leagues. I wanted to share it with you guys in hopes of you learn from my mistakes. Why did I start the Nine Hole Podcast, man? I started the Nine Hole Podcast because I wanted to lead, I wanted to inspire, and I wanted to provide adequate information to the next generation of baseball players, the next generation of underdogs, the next generation of nine-hole hitters, man. So I wanted to provide info to the player that I was 10, 15 years ago, man, before I started my ascent up to the big leagues, man. So I'm trying to give advice to those players that are going to try to make it to the next level, maximize their career, take it as far as it can go, wherever that leads, whatever that looks like, man. So, I mean, why did I start the Nine Hole Podcast? Just to touch back on that, man. It's like ever since I got out of baseball, I have been like I've seen that there have been people that want to offer information, they want to offer insight, they want to offer, advice and processes to players on how to elevate their game, how to maximize it, how to get to the big leagues, how to, play Division 1 baseball. And these dudes that are giving that advice are not qualified to give it. So I wanted to break it down a little bit further. Let's not talk about baseball here in this example. Let's say if you wanted to get fitness advice from a strength and conditioning coach or a strength and conditioning coordinator, or you go to the gym and you want to work out with a trainer, man, are you going to get, fitness advice, diet advice, weight loss advice from a dude with a dumpy body? A dude that just looks like he doesn't put the work in, the dude that looks like, he doesn't practice what he preaches, man. I understand that's kind of judging a book by its cover, but you're not going to go to a gym and you're not going to go work out with a personal trainer if that guy does not practice what he preaches. If that guy's jacked, I can probably guarantee you that he follows a strict workout regimen. He has a great diet and he gets after it in the gym, and he has discipline, right? Those are probably the people that I'm going to want to take fitness advice from. Now let's talk about financial advice. You want to talk about getting rich. You want to talk about being financially fit. You want to talk about building wealth. Well, you're not going to do that from somebody that has never done it. Somebody that's poor, somebody that lives at home, somebody that hasn't really done anything in the financial service industry, or somebody that just doesn't know how to accumulate wealth, right? You're not going to try to take advice on getting rich from somebody that hasn't done it. So that's why I started the Nine Hole. Why in the world would you pay money or give time to somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about? That's why I started the Nine Hole. I just wanted to reiterate that as we get into today's episode, which is learning from my mistakes. So here at the Nine Hole Podcast, man, I try to shoot for 3 episodes a week. I'm going to start kind of structuring out a little bit more of a schedule, so you know when to catch me, you know where to catch me, and you know on what days to catch me. So I'm going to have 3 episodes a week. Why not make it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? So on Friday, to kind of go into the weekend, nice, I'm going to keep that as baseball news. On Wednesday, I'm going to try to have a guest, or I'm going to try to, appear on somebody's podcast. I'm going to try to have an outside voice come in and talk to you guys, share a story, give some type of insight. Obviously, that's not always going to be able to, be the case. People have schedules, but that's what I'm shooting for. And then on Monday, which, I'm kind of doing that today, but man, I'm going to try to maybe recap or touch on a topic that the newsletter, the Nine Hole newsletter, hit on the weekend prior. So the Nine Hole newsletter goes out every single Saturday, and it covers a topic, man, that is pretty important to a career. It's pretty important to maximizing your career in baseball. It's important in my career. It's things that I've implemented or have utilized. It's the stuff that I talk about, man. So I want to give back to the next generation. I want to make sure that they are prepared for what's to come. And what better way than talking about my failures or my trials and tribulations and hopes that it provides you guys with the adequate information to arm yourselves to get in front of any of the things that I had to deal with. Maybe those things are avoidable. That's big time, right? So here are the top mistakes that I've made on my pursuit in making it to the big leagues. And these aren't in any type of order, man. These are just kind of written down and thrown in my head as they've come, man. So, man, I wanted to touch on being unapologetically me. So, regardless of where you're at, right? If you're in high school, you want to go to college, right? D1, D2, D3, or you're in college and you want to get drafted, you want to, get the pro ball, the minor leagues, or you're in the minor leagues, you want to make it to the big leagues, man. You are a big fish in a little pond, right? So you have confidence, you can be yourself. But you don't have to try to be anything that you're not. You can let your personality shine out. You can open your mouth and you don't have to worry about what you're going to say. Along my journey, right, to making it to the big leagues, from little league to the big leagues, I slowly but surely started watering myself down. So as I got drafted, I was obviously at Wagner College and I was just me, unapologetically me. I was a big fish in a little pond and I could do whatever I wanted. I could act a certain way. I could be myself, and I didn't have to worry about repercussions. It wasn't a bad thing. It's just, man, I was the big man on campus, right? I get drafted, and then I get thrust into the minor leagues, and you start to see a certain way people act. You start to see how professionals carry themselves, and you start to become a little bit more mature as you rise through the minor leagues. So the closer that I got to the big leagues, the more watered down my personality and kind of the way I carried myself went about, man. I started watering that down a little bit more. I started kind of suppressing, my personality. I became more of a yes sir, no sir, kept my mouth shut. Man, I wanted to fit in, right? The closer that I got to the big leagues, the more that I wanted to fit in. I just wanted to fit in with the big boys instead of doing what got me there, being me, being unapologetically me. That is a definite mistake that I made on my pursuit of the big leagues. And it started with personality, man. I didn't want to, misspeak. I didn't want to speak out of turn. I didn't want to draw too much attention to me in a big league locker room because these are some fucking big boys. Why do I want to get anybody else outside of their, pregame routine? Why do I want to make somebody laugh when they're not in a good mood, right? That's not a great way to go about yourself, man. That's not a great way to carry yourself in a locker room on a team throughout the entirety of a season. That's tough, man. It starts with personality and then it'll eventually creep into physicality, how you go about your business, how you play your game. Before I knew it, I started playing a different game of baseball. I started trying to hit home runs. I started trying to drive the ball out of the park when, man, I'm a little speed guy, right? So being unapologetically me was something that I definitely struggled with as I progressed up the ladder towards the big leagues. I really wanted to just be a piece of the puzzle that just fit in to the overall landscape of the puzzle. I just wanted to be a little piece that fit into the big puzzle. Whereas where I was coming from, man, I was me, right? I was me. So now I see that as I'm out of baseball, that personality does not need to die down in order for me to fit in. If you are good enough, you will get there, right? So being unapologetically me was a mistake that I kind of made as I made it closer to the big leagues, man. Limiting beliefs. This is another one right here, man. So I talk about confidence. I talk about believing in yourself, thinking positive, man. But everybody has limiting beliefs. Everybody. Baseball's a tough game. Like we talked about, man, you fail 7 times out of 10 and you're a fucking millionaire forever. Your kids that you probably aren't even ever going to meet are going to be rich forever. You do that over the entirety of your career at every level that you get to, man. So the limiting beliefs are tough, man, especially with so much failure, especially with, roles assigned to you, ceilings that are put onto your career. So my thing was I was always a fourth outfielder, extra outfielder, September call-up piece that was going to come off the bench late in games. That's exactly what I did, man. I reached my ceiling. I reached the maximum height of my career that I could. I knocked it out of the park, and I did not surpass that ceiling that limiting belief that I bought into that I had. So I had a fourth outfielder type player placed on me. That was the role that I was going to hopefully achieve and maximize myself to get to. And I ended up fucking doing that. I ended up crushing it. And I did not surpass that, man. That is a limiting belief. And that's tough, man. Especially over the entirety of a season when you're going up there preparing and you're failing. So there are kids that I'm speaking with, helping out, trying to coach them through situations that are in the early stages of their high school career, ninth or 10th grade, and they're already thinking about settling for something easy when it gets to college. So these guys are, 14, 15, 16 years old, freshman, sophomore in high school, and they're already thinking about limiting themselves and their potential, limiting themselves and their potential by saying that they want to settle for a D2 or a D3 school when these guys are still freshmen in high school. How are you going to be able to label yourself already as not being able to play at the highest level of college baseball when, dude, you're not even, halfway through your freshman year of high school? You're already putting that fucking label on yourself that you're not going to be able to make it as far as you want to go. You have these dreams, right? You have these dreams. And you're already telling yourself that you can't, man. That's negative speak. You're already putting a ceiling on you and your career, and you're not even through your first year of high school yet. Come on. Come on. You can only take yourself as far as your mind believes, man. That sounds like a super cliche thing to say, but if you believe that you're a D3 baseball player at fucking age 12, there's a good chance that you accomplish just that, and you don't get much past that, man. So limiting beliefs are something that everybody is going to deal with at some point in their career. It's something that I dealt with, and it's a mistake that I made over the entirety of my career. I was trying to pursue that role. I was trying to pursue that ceiling that was placed on me from fucking people that just had no idea what they're talking about. Sports media people that haven't played past high school baseball are writing reports about me being a fourth outfielder or a, September call-up pinch runner. Like, those guys don't fucking know, right? But I bought into it, and look what I did. Look what I did, man. I accomplished it. Didn't do much more than that. But you start buying into those beliefs. I mean, that's the ceiling that you set for yourself. Why set the bar low? Especially if you're not even close to being in the recruiting stage or in the draft eligible stage. Why place those limiting beliefs on yourself? It blows my mind. Damage control when shit got bad. This is something that this was a mistake that I made. So over the entirety of my career, over the entirety of your career, you are going to find out stuff that works for you, stuff that doesn't work for you. And you are going to then implement that into a routine. That routine is going to get you prepared. That routine is going to get you locked in. And that routine is going to get you ready to play at first pitch 7:05. On the flip side of that, there is damage control. So shit is always going to go wrong. The trick and what Major League Baseball players are able to do better than anybody else, they're able to be consistent and they're able to prolong these hot streaks, man. So we are always, always, always at some point, man, things are not going to go our way. The trick is, how do we stop that? How do we limit that time period where we are just fucking wheels spinning? We have no idea what we're doing. How do we limit that damage, man? Damage control was one of the mistakes that I made. I did not have a proper damage control process in place. I was kind of just doing it subconsciously. Now that I'm out of baseball, I'm able to dive into it. I'm able to kind of put it down. I'm able to put it into a product, and I'm able to offer it to the next generation, right? So as I'm going through it, as I was in the trenches, as I was in the middle of my athletic career, I really wasn't able to wrap my brain around damage control. What do I need to do when shit is going bad that can stop this slump or stop the wheels spinning and propel me back into the green, propel me back into the hit column, back into the win column, back where I want to be? I didn't understand the processes that I had in place. I was doing it subconsciously. So when I'm in college, junior year, I had a fantastic year. My first year in pro ball, I had a great year. 2015 had a great year. 2017, 2019, I had great years. Man, I didn't fully understand why I was having those good years, and the other years that just so happened to be the even years, 2014, 16, 18, 20. Why was I not doing well? Well, it was because of the damage control, man. I did it during my best years unconsciously, and man, it ended up taking hard work and effort, right? So I talk about having a book. I talk about breaking down your shit, your at bats after the games or your outings after the games, understanding why, looking at your mechanics, seeing what broke down. Why did that break down? Was I conscious about it? Did I feel it? And then what can I do moving forward to fix that? What kind of band-aids can I place on that right now to get me through this game, to get me through this series, maybe through this month? I get to an off day, I can relax, I can decompress, and I can spend some more time on it, right? But I really did not have those damage control type years or damage control type processes in place while I was playing that probably could have prolonged my career. Another mistake that I made pretty much over the entirety of my career. Over the entirety of my career was I was not where my feet were. I did not have a next pitch mentality, right? I was not locked in. I was not focused on the present. I was not focused on the next pitch. I was worried about, man, when the fuck was I going to get a call up? Why am I not promoted to double A if I'm in high A? Why am I not in the big leagues if I'm hitting 290 in triple A? I I needed to be where my feet were. I needed to be focused on the next pitch, on the task at hand, who I was facing, what pitch was coming, where I'm trying to drive this ball. But instead, I'm playing GM in my head. I'm worried about dudes that are getting called up ahead of me. I'm worried about opportunities that just have nothing to do with me, and I'm trying to make sense of it all. And by that time, the pitch is already by you. It's strike three. Fucking walk on back to the dugout. Right, being where my feet were was something that I definitely struggled with throughout the entirety of my career. I always wanted something more. I wasn't grateful for where I was. I wasn't totally consumed with being present. I wasn't totally consumed with being locked in on the task at hand. So be where your feet are. One of the last things that I'll touch on the top mistakes that I made on my pursuit to the big leagues. This is crazy, but I had a different fucking swing each year, dude. Each year. So just so happened the odd years were my best years and the even years were my terrible years. And dude, even after a good year, let's say my best year, 2019, hit 11 home runs, stole a bunch of bags, got called up to the big league, got traded. I banged. I hit a bunch of doubles, man. I think I made it. I might have hit like 30, 40 doubles, something like that. I might have hit at 50 extra base hits almost. I'm going to have to go back and check it. But that was obviously like the craziest power numbers that I've ever had. I was banging that year, man. The ball was leaving the yard. And I come back next year, 2020, coming into Cubs spring training, looking totally different. The bat's in a different spot. My stance is just spread out and squatty, dude. It just looked totally different. Why would I change something year after year that's working? Or that seems to be working. I just need to make slight adjustments. I just watched Mike Trout strike out against Cole Kimbrell to end the game. Cole's a closer for the Orioles right now, and Mike Trout is obviously in his 30th year with the Angels. Stinks because he's never going to win there. But I'm looking at his he struck out to end the game. I think the bases were loaded, and it was a high fastball for a strike three. And I noticed, I'm like, dude, that guy's stance looks the same as it was when he got called up. Why is he not just changing it? Why is he not just revamping himself year after year like I did? Man, so even after a year where I had success, I would go back to the drawing board, fucking strip it down and just redo it. And that's crazy, man. If it ain't broke, why would you need to fix it? Right? At some point, it's just like, dude, we're just tinkering with stuff to tinker with stuff. And that's not necessarily positive. That's not constructive. That's destructive, if anything, right? Trying to learn a whole new mechanic, a whole new setup. Then you have to start thinking about your setup when you're in the box. Like, oh shit, are my hands supposed to be here? Like, is this what I'm doing this year? Is this what I'm doing this week? That's something that I struggled with, man. That's one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my pursuit from little league to the big leagues. I wasn't unapologetically me, just going with it, man, just letting the personality ride out. I limiting beliefs, played into that fourth outfielder type role, that September call-up type role, fucking knocked it out of the park, hit that, couldn't surpass it. Damage control when shit got bad. I really wasn't totally consumed with the process of damage control. Didn't really know how to take that and implement it and be conscious about it. I was just kind of subconsciously doing it on my good years. I wasn't where my feet were, man. I was always thinking about the next opportunity, the next call up, what the next week was going to look like, where I was going to be. I was never grateful for where I was at. And I had a different swing each year for whatever reason. I have no idea why. I was just trying to reinvent the wheel when the wheel was already spinning and it was going well, right? So don't do that. Please don't do that. Here we go. So, in your pursuit of the next level, whatever that next level may be, everybody's going to have a different next level. Everybody is going to have a different ceiling. Everybody's going to have a different career. But what is needed in your pursuit of the next level? Well, there are a couple things that are constant, regardless of where you're at, what kind of goals you have, and what you're trying to achieve, man. You need to have confidence. We touched on it before. We threw it out on social media before, and it got a whole bunch of hits. I should probably spend a lot more time on this, but confidence, man. You need to understand that throughout the entirety of your career, you are going to have a good series, bad series. You're going to have good games, you're going to have bad games, and you are going to have good seasons and bad seasons. I just talked about for whatever reason, the odd seasons were my best years. My best years. The even seasons, for whatever reason, I just the wheels were spinning, man. I was just going through the motions. But with that confidence, man, you need to understand that a bad season can't just chip away and wither away at that long-term goal that you're trying to achieve. So let's say my freshman year of college, I'm walking on to this Division I school. I get my fucking teeth knocked out with a baseball. My dad passes away unexpectedly right before my freshman season. I hit 231. It's getting constantly kicked in the nuts, left and right, just going through it, dude. And on top of that, like I said, I hit 231. I produced a dumpy season with all this stuff going on as a little tiny baby freshman amongst a whole group of grown men. But at the end of the day, that did not chip away or wither away, erode, if you will, my overall dream of making it to the big leagues. You are going to struggle. You are going to slump. Shit is not going to go your way sometimes. But that can't take away at the overall long-term goal that you are trying to have. That can't chip away at the confidence, man. You need to have confidence. We talked about it, man. What goes into confidence? Well, hard work. You can rely on your hard work to hold up your confidence when shit is going wrong. But you need to understand you're going to have good seasons and bad seasons. The bad seasons can't outweigh the good seasons and just bring down your dream, man. That's going to limit you. B, what's needed in your pursuit of the next level? Well, you need to have a chip on your shoulder. You need to have a chip on your shoulder, and you need to be able to use this undervalued type mindset, this 9-hole type mindset, the bullshit that's going on around as fuel. You need to use that as fuel for the fire. Just because, man, you're in the 9-hole or you're hitting 6th in the lineup does not mean that you should just give up. Use it as fuel. Look at the positive side, dude. At least you're in the fucking lineup. There are dudes that would lick a bag to be in the lineup. I'd lick a bag to be in a lineup right now. That'd be sick, dude. Wearing a jersey and getting paid for it. You need to have a chip on your shoulder, and you need to use the stuff that is going against you as fuel. You need to be able to use that as fuel, put your head down, and get back to work, man. So you need to have a chip on your shoulder, not a victim type mentality when shit does not go your way. C, you need to trust in the journey. You need to trust in it, man. If you have a goal and you have a long-term perspective of your baseball career, you need to trust in the journey. You need to trust in the hard work that you put in, and you need to trust that it is a long journey and you are right where you're supposed to be. You belong here wherever you're at. You got here based off of your hard work, your talent, and the results that you put out on the field day in and day out. D, what's needed in your pursuit of the next level, man. You need to be able to evolve and you need to make adjustments. So I just had Nick Deeney on the podcast last week. Dude, he is a stand-up guy, absolute stud at Wagner College, got drafted in the 14th round by the Royals, made it to the big leagues as a catcher, bounced around a little bit, man, and now he's kind of giving back to the next generation. Being a catching guy, a hitting guy, he knows his stuff, man. So Nick Deeney was on the podcast and he was talking about making adjustments. Like, hey, Ian, you know that if we played each other, right? I played against him multiple times in my career. Like, hey, Ian, if I played against you and we had a 5-game series and we're opening up on Tuesday and you automatically go 0 for 4 and you struggle with the fastball in and you show that you can't handle the fastball in, what do you think then we as a pitching staff are going to fucking do to you on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, and on Saturday? What do you think we're going to do to you if you show us on the first game of the series that you can't hit a fastball in? We are going to abuse you with fastballs in until you show us as a pitching staff that you can handle that you've made an adjustment. So you need to be able to make adjustments. You need to be able to evolve. It's not just about maintaining the hard work you've put in the offseason. You need to be able to grow and you need to be able to evolve. You need to be able to make adjustments throughout the entirety of the season, throughout your career. This is something I've heard something, man, that now that I'm out of the game, it puts it into perspective a little bit more. So this is all about making adjustments. This is all about evolving and doing the necessary work from the night prior. So good hitters adjust game to game. If they struggle, like I just said, with the fastball in, I got abused on a Tuesday. Good hitters are able to make that adjustment after the game on Tuesday or before the game on Wednesday, and they're able to make that adjustment going into the game and then be able to handle that fastball in. So if I was a good hitter, I would take what my weak suit was the night before and I would make that my strong suit tonight. I would be able to make that adjustment because I'm a good hitter. Great hitters are able to make adjustments at bat to at bat. So let's say if I was struggling with the fastball in and I had my first at bat of the night, I'm leading off top of the first, and I got abused with a fastball in, maybe multiple fastballs in. If I was a great hitter, I would be able to make that adjustment in between my at bats, maybe fucking run down to the tunnel, run down to the cage, do a drill or two, or lock in, look at some video, right? You got iPads and shit on the bench now, whatever. The good hitters are able to make adjustments game to game. The great hitters are able to make adjustments at bat to at bat, but the best hitters are able to make adjustments pitch to pitch. So if somebody abuses me with a fastball in on an 0-1 count and it's now 0-2, the best hitters are able to make that adjustment going into the next pitch. Step out of the box, right? Everybody's got a pitch clock now and the rules fucking change year after year, whatever that is. But when you step out of the box, keep one foot in, but they make those adjustments, whether it's a mechanical thing or whether it's a mental thing or whether it's being conscious of something. Good hitters are able to make adjustments game to game. Great hitters are able to make adjustments at bat to at bat, but the best hitters are able to adjust pitch to pitch mid at bat. That is food for thought, and that's the truth. Lastly, so A, B, C, D, E. What's needed in your pursuit of the next level, man? You got to have a growth mindset. So we talked about my limiting beliefs, that fourth outfield ceiling, that September call up extra outfielder, come off the bench type dude late in games. That's not necessarily a growth mindset because I'm eventually going to get there. And then what's going to happen? I'm going to regress or I'm going to, max out there at that ceiling. If you max out and you stay stagnant, you don't progress, you don't grow. A growth mindset is needed on your pursuit of the next level. Don't wish for less problems, man. Wish for more skills. That's the truth. Wish for more skills, man. Grow into the person that can accomplish those dreams, overcome those problems. Don't necessarily wish for less problems. Like, Just build on those skills to overcome those problems, man. There's a difference between being a leader and being a fucking victim. And wishing for less problems and wishing for things to be different just because it's you is being a victim, man. Wishing for more skills and going after those skills and developing those skills, that's being a leader. So what's needed in your pursuit of the next level, no matter where you're at? Confidence, having a chip on your shoulder, trusting in the journey. It is a fucking long journey. Trust it. Trust that you're supposed to be here where you're at right now. Evolve and make adjustments, depending on if you're a good hitter, a great hitter, or an elite hitter. Make those adjustments quick and have a growth mindset on your pursuit to the next level. So as we wrap up here, man, I wanted to hit on just two more things that are it's prevalent in everybody's career, no matter where they're at. It is a little thing to think about. Hopefully you think about this after the episode concludes, but man, everybody wants to be a 300 hitter with 30 home runs. Everybody that you know, including you, including me, wants to be a 300 hitter and hit 30 pumps. But these guys have not mastered the skill of being the first one at practice or the last one to leave. So everybody wants the results. Everybody wants the glory. Everybody wants the call up. Everybody wants the fame. Everybody wants the money. But no one's willing to put in the work and become the person that's able to have those results. You want to be a 300 hitter and you want to hit 30 dingies? Better fucking turn into that hitter. You know how you turn into that hitter? You take the action. You work like that hitter. You put in that work behind the scenes and you do that day after day. You be consistent. So if you're just going through the motions at practice, you're probably not going to be able to become that hitter. Let's say if you aren't where you're at, if you're not like where you want to be in your career, if you're not where you want to be right now, you're not putting out the best results, you're not garnering the attention you want, you're not separating from the pack. If you aren't where you want to be in your career, you need to take accountability. That's your fault. It's nobody else's fault but yours. You need to delay gratification, man. You need to start working now so you can produce those results later. And you need to keep it simple by chipping away. You need to, man. That's the framework. If you want to be a 300 hitter and you want to have 30 home runs, or you want to have 30 bags, or you want to have 30 extra base hits, man, you need to be that person. You need to become that player. You need to become that player, man. You need to be that guy. You need to develop those traits. You need to have those habits. But you need to take accountability. You need to understand that that's your fault, nobody else's. If you're not where you want to be, that's on you, big dog. You need to start working now, and you need to delay gratification. Stop looking for the easy fix, because nothing's going to come easy, man. You work now and the results come later. You need to understand that, and you need to keep it simple. You need to chip away. You're going to get overwhelmed like, dude, hey, look, I'm a 250 hitter. I'm a 250 hitter. I want to be a 300 hitter. I want to hit 30 pumps, or I want to steal 50 bags. Like, I'm a 250 hitter and I only had 4 stolen bases last year. You're going to get overwhelmed with all this shit that you're going to need to do. Okay, I need to do my speed work in the offseason. I need to be able to run a 6.5. I need to be able to run a 3.7 or under down the first base line, right? I need to be able to get a 16-foot lead as opposed to 14 feet. My time from first to second base on a steal needs to be under 3.2. Like, dude, all this shit, it is extremely overwhelming. It's extremely overwhelming when you look at it like that. I did that throughout, not the entirety of my career, but through the majority of my career. It is overwhelming. Chip away. Pick something. Pick the lowest hanging fruit and fucking hi-ya! Chop it off, man. Knock it out. Knock it out, man. Look at everything from the big picture, and what do you need to do in order to get to where you want to go? Okay, you want to hit 300 with 30? All right. Start showing up early to practice, fucking putting the more work in than everybody else. Maybe you'll start developing better results, better skill than everybody else. Put in more volume, put in more time. You develop more skill that way. So if you aren't where you want to be right now in your career, in your season, with your preparation, with your results, man, if you're just going through the motions at practice, you expect those results, man. Those results aren't going to change. The way you do something is the way you do everything. The way you do the little things is the way you do the big things, man. The way you do anything is the way that you do everything. So if you're going through the motions at practice, you can expect to go through the motions during the game. If you aren't putting in extra work outside of practice, there's no way you can expect better results than the average dweeb, right? So what is practice? Practice is where you come together as a team and you go over the fundamentals, right? If you're in college, you start having individual practices. Outfielders, you start doing individual drills. You start doing the skill players do different stuff. Infielders do different stuff. Pitchers do different stuff. But when you're in high school or you're at the lower ranks, man, or you're doing like fundamental practice at pregame in rookie ball, like you're practicing as a team, you're doing fucking bunt plays, cuts and relays, rundowns, all that stuff, man. You're not necessarily putting in individual practice that you need in order to further your career. So if you're not putting in the extra work outside of practice, how in the world are you going to expect positive results? If you aren't making adjustments as the season progresses, we just talked about this, you can expect those basic results, man. If you're not making adjustments on stuff that isn't going well, if your swing is unraveling, you need to make those adjustments, man. So I'm going to leave you with this. This is straight out of the 9-hole newsletter. So I've been talking about it a little bit. As you see on social media, I have people come on, we talk about skill set, we talk about journey, we talk about, separators, and hopefully you are able to take stuff from their journey and you're able to implement it in your own journey. So in the 9-hole newsletter, it is for a little bit more of the advanced crowd. It's for people that want to take it a little bit further than just what you see on social media. It's going to dive into specific topics. It's going to get into specific processes. I'm going to relate stuff that specifically has worked for me, and I'm going to tie it into how it can work for you. I'm going to give you frameworks on how to implement that stuff, and I'm going to answer any questions you guys got. So if you're not already signed up, subscribed to the 9-hole newsletter, man, check it out. Check it out, man. It's awesome, man. It's absolutely awesome. It's on Beehive. It's called the 9-hole newsletter. Check it out. But this past weekend, man, it was about keeping it simple and chipping away at stuff that you need to do in order to get where you want to go. So this is right-click copy and pasted from the newsletter, but above average results require me to take above average action. If you want to be an above average player and you want to have above average results, then you are going to be required to take above average action. I know personally that in order to produce an above average result, I need to put in above average work and my reps need to be consistently above average. I need to be above average in my actions, in my practice, and in my discipline. If I'm able to be consistent with that, then my results will eventually be above average. They gotta be, man. They gotta be. In order for me to produce above average results, I need to have above average habits. I need to be and act like the above average player. Remember, above average results require me to take above average action. So I can't expect to produce those above average results unless I'm the type of person that can produce those results. How can you expect to produce those results if you're not the dude that's capable of pulling that shit off? Come on, man. Come on. Woo! You become that person that can produce those above average results by taking above average action. You become that person that can produce those above average results by delaying gratification and working your ass off now so that you can reap those benefits of your hard work later. Be the person so that you can do the results. Everybody wants to hit 300 and they want to hit 30. Then turn into the person that can hit 300 and hit 30, man. Be the person so you can do the results. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the 9-hole podcast, man. We will catch you back here in 2 days on Friday to hit on sports news around the league. and to get sexy going into the weekend. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.